H1Z1 on PlayStation 4 is great, but I think it could be a lot better. Guys, welcome to the video. In today's video we're going to talk about probably about 10 or 12 things that I think H1Z1 really has to do to live up to its potential and be one of the top battle royale games for years to come. There is no doubt that I absolutely love H1Z1 on PlayStation 4, but I do think they are doing a few things wrong, and I think there's a few things that could be done better, and probably some of the stuff that I'm talking about in this video is already in the works. If you guys didn't see already, I uploaded a video pretty recently, about a week ago, talking about EMP grenades coming to H1Z1, airstrike grenades and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys aren't aware of what's coming to H1Z1, make sure you guys do check out that video. But let's get straight into it. First of all, for me, especially as somebody who lives in Asia, I've been playing in NA servers on roughly 150 ping. I find it very strange that Daybreak has not released an Asian server, considering that they have a data center in Tokyo for the PC servers, and likewise for Australia, they've got a data center in Sydney. So I feel like the experience of the game is not going to be the highest it possibly can be until everybody's playing in the correct region. So that's probably my number one complaint, getting everybody on the right server. The game's already had, I think last I heard, 4.5 million downloads. It's probably over 5 million now, and that's without most of the Asian market and the Australian market, South America, and basically everywhere that was excluded. It's only EU and NA at the moment, so I feel like that should be one of their top priorities going forward. Other than that, the servers do feel very, very smooth whenever I'm playing in NA, so I can't complain too much. It's just whenever you get into close range fights, sometimes people are teleporting, and I'm sure on their screen I'm teleporting and stuff as well, so I'm sure it's not the best gameplay experience for everybody. Number two, we're going to talk about leaderboards. I think leaderboards is very important, and I know the game is an open beta, but even in H1Z1 in the early access stage for all the pre-seasons, they had leaderboards, a ranking system. If you basically won 10 games, you would get a rank based on how well you've done in 10 games. 10 wins with a decent amount of kills would have got you royalty, and it's something really, really good to grind for, and it will really keep people playing for longer and longer. So I think leaderboards should come very, very soon to make the game a competitive feeling game. The next thing I want to talk about is gas waves. I think the gas waves need tweaked a little bit. So firstly, I think the initial gas wave should take a little bit longer to come in. Overall, I'd like to see probably an extra maybe 2 to 3 minutes added to the entire game to allow a little bit of extra time between gas waves. It seems like they're pretty redundant in certain points. By the time you get into a fight, the gas is moving and stuff like that. The flow of the game is not as good as it possibly can be, so I think they should really tweak the initial gas stages and definitely increase the damage towards the end, because I've seen myself waiting in a tiny circle, somebody's healing up in the gas in the final circle for a few minutes, which shouldn't be a thing. So we're going to talk about guns and the armor system. I personally like that you do have to shoot people a few times to kill them, but I honestly think it's a little bit overboard. So for example, in the closed beta, the M40 sniper would have one-shotted you to the helmet no matter what. Maybe this is a little bit OP, but I think the armor system for sure is a little bit too strong. It leads for very long and drawn out fights. It doesn't allow you to be quick and clean, and it really gives a huge advantage to people in cars because they can drive away, and there's we're going to get into cars in a minute, by the way, but it really just plays into the H1Z1 aspect of the game even more, where, you know, you've shot them 4 or 5 times and then they just hop in their car and drive away, and it's, you know, basically you're playing a racing game for a while. I think for sure there needs to be a better damage multiplier on the shotgun for headshots, and probably a better damage multiplier for helmets. I've literally shot somebody 3 times with a sniper rifle, once in the helmet and 2 times to break their armor, and not got the kill. That's 4 times with a bolt action sniper rifle to kill somebody. Like, that's completely unheard of in any game. Sure, it's unique. I feel like H1Z1 should be slightly more competitive than Fortnite, and considering that the game has got bloom, which if you guys don't know what bloom is, I've talked about it a few times, it's basically whenever you shoot. If you guys don't know what bloom is, it's whenever you shoot straight and your bullets don't always go where you're shooting, so it's kind of like a random bullet spread. So I think it's gotta be one or the other. They can't have a really heavy armor system with bloom. It has to be either bloom and fairly decent armor, or, you know, heavy armor with 100% accuracy in every gun, because realistically the pistols are completely useless. The AK is good sometimes, and then other times it completely fails you. You whiff every shot, even if you're right on them. Not to mention that the AK itself does have a lot of recoil. Once again, the Hellfire, I feel like it is pretty consistent and very, very strong, but even sometimes with the Hellfire it feels a bit weird. I believe the Hellfire outguns the CNQ quite a lot because of bloom, so I think that's something that should definitely be taken out of the game completely, or they have to do something about the armor system to make it less spongy, because I feel like after a while that is something that people are going to get sick of. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think about the sniper, for example? It's a 2-shot kill if you shoot them in the body twice. What do you think headshots it should be? Personally, in my opinion, they should either add another sniper into the game, a golden sniper which you get in the final crate, which can one-shot you through any helmet, but I would like to see the M40 be able to one-shot you through a level 1 helmet, and maybe just add more bullet drop and slower bullet speed with it to make it harder to use, but make it more rewarding for hitting headshots. Like I said, guys, let me know in the comments down below what you do think about that. a lot of you guys have been talking about third-person aiming. This is something I have to disagree with. I know a lot of you guys are asking for it, but for me, I think the game is a little bit harder because you have to aim down sights. Now, once again, in the video that I talked about, they're working on the aim acceleration to make it more linear so that it feels more responsive like all our first-person shooter games and stuff like that on console. So hopefully the clunky feeling of shooting sometimes and the clunky controller movement feeling will be gone pretty soon, and the acceleration will be at a good level. But I just think third-person aiming, it's good on PC, it's good on Fortnite, but I like how it is more difficult to use scopes, and I think that is a better system for H1Z1. I feel like, though, that is my opinion, and if the entire community wants third-person shooting, I think Daybreak should definitely implement that in some fashion, whether it be 100% accurate shooting in third person, or make it like PUBG, where you've got a tighter hipfire spread essentially with third person. Once again, guys, I'm sure you'll probably argue about that one in the comments, or debate would be a better word for that, in the comment section below. But personally, I don't like it, but if the community wants it, I'm all for what the community wants for sure. So the movement system in H1Z1, obviously since it is on console, it does feel a little bit clunkier. Although I do feel like it's clunkier than it should be. It's quite difficult to get in and out of sprint animations. It's quite difficult to jump out of a car and shoot straight away. Similar problems to what we have on PC, honestly, in certain aspects. The crouching feels very slow. There's a crouch lock if you crouch too much. There's an ANAS lock, which if you strafe and run about trying to dodge bullets too much, you will literally get locked. So if you're running away from somebody trying to dodge bullets, you'll get locked in spot, which I think it's unacceptable for a console game. I feel like that definitely has to go. I'd like to see, once again, more responsive jumping. Like I said, guys, these are problems that we've had on PC, which I do hope it does get resolved in console as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about the looting system. Once again, I personally don't have a problem with it because I think it's really cool memorizing where all of the military crates are and going to the locations that you know could potentially have a military crate. It means that if you play the game for longer and you build stronger knowledge, you'll be able to get better loot and you'll know where to go. And I love games that make you learn stuff like that. I think it's a cool idea to put perhaps an AR-15 or an AK on the ground, which doesn't have a red dot sight. I think that'd be a really cool idea. Red dot sight or holographic for the AR. I know a lot of you guys like to correct me that it's not a red, it's a holographic. I know it's a holo, but without any sights on it, just have iron sights assault rifles. I think that could be a cool idea to put on the ground for sure, and it definitely would add a little bit more variety to the loot table on the ground. One thing that I think should be removed from the loot table on the ground, without a doubt, is crossbows. I think crossbows in general in the game, it's probably one of the least skillful and most overpowered weapons in the game. You just get absolutely tanked by it. The one thing I like about the crossbow is it decimates cars, but at the end of the day it does a lot of damage to your body, and compared to some of the other guns where you have to shoot through an absolute bunch of armor, I feel like the explosive tips do a little bit too much damage. If not, I think they should at least be put in the green airdrops to minimize the amount of those around the map. Like I said, I think it's good that they do damage to cars, but we will get into that in a second. So moving on, H1Z1. For those of you guys who are new to H1Z1, get used to that term, H1Z1. It's a thing we've been saying on PC for a long time. H1Z1, at the end of the match, there's literally 20 people driving about with about 10 broken down cars in the middle of the circle. It's a complete destruction derby. It is pretty brutal with the amount of cars about. Like I was saying earlier, with the slow time to kill, it's just a matter of hopping back into your car and you're off to the races again. You don't bleed whenever you take damage to your armor, so it is really annoying having to deal with so many cars. Once again, I like the fact that H1's got cars. I like it. It's a cool aspect that the game's got, but I think it's went a little bit overboard. I think a few things that can be done to reduce the effectiveness of cars would be, first of all, increase the bullet damage. PC values on the bullet damage are not high enough for PlayStation 4. It's 1.5% damage per bullet. If you're using an AR, KH-43, Marauder or something like that, and maybe the SMGs and things like that, if you're using a Magnum, it's 8% damage. I'd like to see the Magnum have really fast recoil, so it could really be a car destroyer. If, like I said, it's 8% damage, which is pretty high, but I feel like a lot of people leave that behind. Like I mentioned, grenades and crossbows are very good for taking out cars, and the M40 sniper rifle actually does about, it's either 10 or 11, or it could be 10.5 or 11% damage to cars, which is quite a lot. One very strange thing I find about cars is whenever they go on fire, they seem to take less damage per bullet. It feels like you have to put twice as many bullets into the car whenever it's on fire. So for example, if it's on 15%, normally you'd have to put 10 bullets in. You'd have to put 20 in if it's on fire, which makes no sense whatsoever. So I think that's something they should rectify as well. They could even remove the car spawns on the minimap. so you have to learn where they are. You don't always get a car, and if they do obviously tweak the gas circles a little bit to allow you a little bit more time at the start of the match, that should give you the time to make it to the circle, and I think that would make the game a lot better in general. Finally, just reduce the amount of car spawns. I mean, they've increased the car spawns for H1 and console. You know, I understand why, but I think just reduce them completely. If there was 25 to 30% less cars, or maybe even 50% less cars in the game, I think that would work a lot better, because in PC, yes, fair enough, you do get a lot of people in cars, but I feel like it's probably in the top 10 or top 20, it's probably about 50% of people in cars. Like I said, I've seen, you know, top 10, top 20s where literally everybody is in a car or driving about, and it's such a mess. One thing I think is a little bit overpowered is the running over people aspect. They've really added that back into the game for PlayStation 4. If you guys ever do try the PC game, running people over does not work. It flat out does not work. You have to be very lucky to manage to knock somebody over on PC. I think running people over is just way too easy. I mean, it doesn't take any skill whatsoever, man. To be honest, I run people over way more than I get run over, but even I think it's stupid. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but brighter colours would be nice in the game too. I do find it a little bit difficult to see people sometimes. I would love to see changeable games. So for example, one game it'll be dark, one game it'll be bright, morning, afternoon, evening, all of the different daytime effects in H1Z1, whether it be on a match-by-match basis or dynamic like Fortnite, or if you guys have seen the game called Ring of Elysium, there's literally lightning and stuff. I'm sure that would be horrible for FPS, but if the lighting changed from the beginning to the end of the match, I think that'd be super cool, and it just makes it a little bit more interesting. I think that'd be an awesome idea. Let me know, guys, what you do think about that in the comments below. And finally, new content. Fortnite's constantly updating their game. I think it's gotten to the point now where Fortnite's probably updating their game too much. They're chucking in like jetpacks and stuff like that, so I think it's a little bit overboard. But keep new content coming, new guns. I talked briefly about a golden sniper. I'm going to be making a video pretty soon with, if you guys know Cotton, who's another H1Z1 content creator, we're going to be making a video pretty soon about the guns that we think should be coming to H1Z1 and the guns that we'd like to see. So definitely new content will help keep this game alive. But that's pretty much it, my dudes. I hope you did enjoy the video. I know this has probably went on for well over 10 minutes. The gameplay in the background is an 18 kill game that we ended up getting on stream a few days ago. We couldn't quite pull out the 20 bomb. I played a little bit too aggressively at the end. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the gameplay and enjoyed the topics and stuff in this video. As always, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button. The support has been absolutely amazing on the channel lately, and I do appreciate you guys. So if you want to join the community here, right on this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications, and leave a cheeky like on the video. But that's it for me. Thank you once again very much for watching. I appreciate your time. This has been King Plays. Good luck and peace out.
It's okay to say that we expect.
It's Hoodie Allen. What up, Marina? You know how we do. They telling me to take the safe route. This is the detour. Hoodie, baby, you ain't seen a kid like this before him. Late night shooting for the moonlight.